Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've noticed some constituents of mine from my zip code, let alone my district, here, and I'm so happy they're here because they get to see what I have to put up with week after week after week. Colleagues who come here and say that the Mueller report, which they obviously haven't read, says no collusion.
Would the gentleman yield?
Collusion is not even mentioned.
Would the gentleman yield?
In the Mueller report.
I've read the report. I think most of it.
Collusion is not even mentioned in the Mueller report. The issue was conspiracy, number one. Number two, it says no, the Mueller report said no obstruction. The Mueller report did not say that. The Mueller report said if we could find that the president didn't commit a crime, we'd say that. And it said we do not in any way exonerate him from committing obstruction of justice.
Would the gentleman
and we
yield?
hear also—
I said the Attorney General said that.
And would you hold him out of order? It's my time.
Is out of order.
And he says we have hearings about nothing. Hearings about nothing? Hearings about the Russians interfering with our elections? That is in the Mueller report. That is the whole first half of it, and tells us that the Russians interfered with our elections, and we hear we're having hearings about nothing. This is not 38112. This is not reality. This is the Judiciary Committee, and it's sad. The Russians did interfere. Ms. Cordero, you said that the Russians did interfere, and you said that it would be disqualifying that a political team would craft a message around WikiLeaks or around the social media. And you said that it's in conflict with the oath of office that the president takes to faithfully execute the laws of our nation, and taking that and also taking foreign information on an election, which President Trump said he would do. If this committee gets into an impeachment inquiry, do you believe these are areas that should be looked into?
Yes. I think if this committee were to initiate an impeachment inquiry, there's a variety of things that they could look into. One of the most important would be the matters discussed in Volume 2 of the report. I think the special counsel's report lays out at a minimum 4 to potentially 6 acts of potential obstruction that the committee could continue. The second, probably most important thing that is in the report that the committee would want to look at is the prior campaign's willingness to receive foreign assistance, be the beneficiary of a foreign intelligence operation, and almost more significantly, current statements indicating a current and future willingness to take that assistance.
Thank you, ma'am. Professor Hassan, you said that the Mueller report said that opposition research was illegal. Do you have you said the Mueller report cited that taking opposition research from a foreign nation would be illegal. Is that correct?
So I'm looking at the report on its pages 100 and it starts on pages 184, 185, and then it talks about going on to 186, Federal Election Commission rulings, so holding that opposition research counts as a thing of value. And from that, the report concludes that accepting it can be considered illegal, although it does note there's no judicial decision. That issue never came to a court, so there was no judicial decision holding that, but that's what Federal Election Commission authority so holds.
And if we had an impeachment inquiry, the Congress could certainly take that into consideration. Is that not true?
Yes.
And let me ask you this. If the report said, the Mueller report says that taking opposition research is something of value and therefore illegal to take, if President Trump, who said he read the Mueller report, read it, would you presume, as Professor Prakash has said, maybe he just forgot that he read that, or did he not read it because he obviously doesn't understand it?
Well, I don't know what the president reads or doesn't read, but I can tell you that
I suspect the latter part of your answer is the most voluminous, what he doesn't read. Dr. Polyakova,
Polyakova.
I'm sorry. The Russian military was definitely involved in this, right?
Yes.
Would that have to come from Putin? You mentioned the oligarch, but the oligarch wouldn't have done it on his own, would he?
I would just correct to say that we know from the report there was the Russian military intelligence arm that was involved. It is my understanding from how the Russian state functions that there are several proxies that do the bidding of the Kremlin, and it is very likely that there was a guiding principle sent to various proxy agents, including the GRU, including Mr. Prigozhin, who's extensively mentioned in the report, to carry out an operation against the United States. We don't know, because of various redactions, if Mr. Putin himself gave that order or not, but very likely he was very well aware of what was happening.
Thank you. Now yield back the remainder of my time.
Thank the gentleman. The gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan.